good first video for our freshly rebranded channel is going to be taking the F-250 to a car show called Motorhead Madness. It takes place at the Duluth Entertainment and Convention Center. It's super fun. I've entered it, I've placed in it. It's a great time. So I'm gonna pull that truck in here and then we're gonna walk around it and I'll point out what has to be done before the show. All right, here it is in the shop. Little video clip of me getting stuck in the yard. I drove it in there and it was solid, and then a couple months of rain and freezing and frost and snow and thawing, and now it's just, my yard is like driving in peanut butter. So it did not want to come out nicely, but here it is. I did not get video of it actually getting in the garage because my phone died. Naturally, you leave them outside in 40 degrees, they don't do too well. So let's do a quick walk around this truck and I'll show you what has to be done for Motorhead Madness. So, in the engine bay, we need a new brake master cylinder and a new brake booster. Typically it works, but every now and then you lose pressure and you have to jab the pedal to reflare the boot in the master cylinder, and that's just scary. So I have a new master cylinder. I didn't realize how bad the booster was, so I'll go buy a new booster one of these days and we'll just put them in at the same time. It has a terrible squeal on startup. That's because I have two belts going to my power steering. I don't really need two belts, so I'm just gonna take one off because I can never get them tensioned right. One always winds up super tight and one winds up super loose. I have a new carburetor. I don't know that I need it. This thing's timing is way off right now, so I'm gonna reset the timing, and if that fixes its idle issue, then we're gonna stick with what it's got. If not, then I'll put the new carb on there. I don't think that this thing needs anything else in the engine bay other than a good cleaning. It had its valve cover gaskets were seeping terribly last year, so I put new valve cover gaskets on there, but I didn't really clean the heads very well, so it still looks kind of rough. And if you're going to a car show, you want it all to look good, so I'll clean that up a bit. Let's move on. Okay, so we get down to the suspension on this truck, and you will notice that these shocks look like crap. Now there's a good reason for that. These shocks are crap. So I bought a new set of shocks that we can install, and then we're gonna go vice grip garage style on restoring this frame. We're gonna paint as far as I can see it, which is fine. It'll be good. So back here, we've got this roll bar that I made. It's made entirely out of scrap metal, so I'm kind of proud of it. I thought it would look really cool to have some 80s style, like period correct lights up top, and I think they look really cool. But I also look like a poser because they're not wired. So, you know, the options are leave them unwired and just look lazy. The other option is tuck the wires in the hole, but then if someone sees that I look like a poser, but I mean, the obvious option is wire them. It's gonna take me like 20 minutes. So at some point, I gotta wire these lights. So moving on. Over here at the workbench, we've got a pile of parts. We've got a 600 CFM 4-barrel Holley carburetor. Believe it or not, this thing came from the factory with the 600 CFM Holley 4-barrel. This one's a different model, hopefully nicer. And like I said, if the timing fixes this idle issue, then we're not gonna worry about this yet. We'll do that later. We have the best shock absorbers that you can get with $80. So they're gonna be fantastic, I can just feel it. We've got everything I need to wire up those lights and put a switch under the dash. I'm gonna use this to make the switch panel. Trust the process, it'll look okay. Not great, but okay. Then we've got a new brake master cylinder. After looking at that engine bay, I realized we also need a new booster. So I'll get that ordered and we'll do that whenever it gets here. I'm gonna let this truck sit in here tonight and drip dry and warm up and not be such a mess. And first thing tomorrow morning, me and Phil are gonna start working on this thing. So get ready. It's Thursday night, move-in day is tomorrow morning. Phil's gonna be bringing his Beetle over here. We're gonna detail my truck and his Beetle tonight. We're supposed to be getting about 1 inch of snow tonight, so we might see if his Beetle fits in my trailer. Unless I can get a huge enclosed trailer and a 1-ton dually, there's no hauling this truck, so I just have to drive it in. Not so much worried about the snow, more worried about the salt, but we'll keep an eye on the weather and see what happens. Until then, let's get some time lapse going and get these things detailed.